special guest is hanging out with us this morning, man. Warren Ballentine, good friend of the show, man. Always a wealth of information, a man of the people, a real true fighter, and we've been distracted for a long time, Warren. Like, we've been doing these Instagram lives, we've been having these parties and social media and just figuring out how to, maneuver through the whole quarantine situation. But, now the realities that we were dealing with before all this popped off are starting to rear their head again. We were seeing innocent men gunned down in the street again. We was talking about the situation with Arbery yesterday. Now we have a new situation in Indianapolis where a man was gunned down. What's the latest that you know?
Well, hey, Craig, let me start off by saying thank you to the Morning Hustle. Thank you guys for being the voice for the next generation coming up, because you guys are doing a great job. I want to start off like that.
Thank you, brother.
Secondly, I want to say this. What happened in Indianapolis, right, is nothing unusual. But what's sad about what happened in Indianapolis is that this was on a live feed where you could hear the police saying, I guess it's going to be a closed casket homie. That tells you how little value they had for our lives. When you think about what happened with Arbery and what they're doing now, they're putting this in the grand jury. Now, let me explain something to y'all for people who don't know. Whenever they put a case in the grand jury, it's two reasons why. Either the DA is involved in the case and they don't want to charge the person themselves so that the case can be thrown out, or they don't have enough evidence. And the reason they're putting this in the grand jury right now is because right now grand juries aren't convening. That'd probably be late June, early July before they can convene, number one. Number two, with the grand jury, you don't have to prove that the person did anything wrong. When I was in law school, the first case that we had, they said you can indict a ham sandwich. And I was like, indict a ham sandwich? What the hell are y'all talking about? And what happens with a grand jury is the prosecutor comes in and let's say, head crack, you're standing on Peach Street in Georgia and somebody commits a crime. Right. If a witness says they saw you there, the prosecutor can charge you, put it in the grand jury, and all he has to do is come in and say, at this day, at this time, head crack was standing on the corner when this person died. We believe he's guilty. That's it. You don't even get to defend yourself. You get indicted. You get to go through the court case and everything else, even though it's no proof you did anything wrong and you could be completely innocent. And this is why they're doing it this way with the Arbery case, because they want the grand jury to throw it out, not the DA to throw it out, so that these men can get away with it. And what's happening in Indianapolis is the same thing. They're valuing our lives so little right now, even from a national scale when you really think about it, right? Part of the reason why everybody wants to open back up, it's not just the money from the economy. It's due to the fact that for the first time in American history, you have a group of people, the 1%, the whites, the wealthy, who are feeling something that poor people have been feeling all their lives, oppressed. They're telling them they can't go somewhere. That's why they want to come somewhere, because they're telling them they can't do it. And so when we get this opportunity after this, we have to have a real conversation. And the conversation can't start with people who are 60 years old. It has to be with young folks who are 20, 21, 22, talking about how do we get not equality, but equity. See, the civil rights movement was a wonderful thing. It gave us equality, but it didn't give us equity. We need equity. And until we get that, they're going to continue killing us. They're going to continue locking us up. They're going to continue using the legal system to literally form a new Jim Crow and a new slavery.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, Warren Ballentine. Go ahead, Angie.
Oh, I just wanted to ask, going back to Ahmaud's situation, do you think that the video, now that the video is out, that will have impact in order to seek justice for him? We spoke to the vice president of the NAACP yesterday, and he was talking about the importance of just putting pressure on the politicians to act quickly on this. With the video out, do you think that'll help, or do you think that'll also just be kind of thrown out or dismissed?
Well, this is what I really believe. I believe history has a way of repeating itself. If you look at the video of Rodney King, those officers was found not guilty. If you go back to the incident that happened at the University of Cincinnati, where they had video of the cops shooting an unarmed man, those cops were not found guilty. We got to understand that just because there's a video and there's proof, the way the legal system is set up right now, it's not set up for anybody who doesn't have power or money. If you're poor or you don't have money, they're going to get you in this system one way or the other. And if you have money and power and you're talking against them, they will use the same legal system to take you down until we all collectively say enough is enough. and we come together and we start attacking this from a legal point of view. See, the marching is great. The protesting is great, but until we change the laws, because the laws dictate everything we do in this country, everything we do in this world, until we address this, until cops lose their pensions, until cops can be charged with first-degree murder, until cops can have the same feelings that we have, this is not going to stop. Now, all cops aren't bad. I'm not saying that, but they still have the same mentality. They talk about us having this no snitch rule. They got the same damn rule with the police.
Absolutely. Now, real quick, because it's very new in the news cycle and some people are maybe just hearing about this the first time, we did talk about earlier in the show. Sean Reed was gunned down yesterday in Indianapolis, and the whole thing got captured on Facebook Live. If you missed it, here's what happened.
Oh yeah! You're not finna catch me, I'm out! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! I'm not going to jail today! No sir! Please come get me! Please come get me! Please go get me! I'm on 62nd in Michigan. I just parked this motherfucker. I'm gone. Please come get me!
You know, then seconds later, you hear gunshots, lots of gunshots. And, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, Warren Ballentine, you're supposed to, you're supposed to capture the suspect, not kill the suspect. You know, and I know it's not like necessarily confirmed whether or not he was shooting back at them or not, but you know, the story is still developing. What do you know?
Well, this is what I know. All right, from a legal point of view, even if he initially was fighting back, if he didn't fight back when they came to get him out of that car, they had no right to shoot and kill this man. And in fact, he did the right thing when you really think about it. He recorded it because he wanted to make sure that he wasn't done the wrong way. And we have to get to a point in this society where everybody is treated equally. Head Crack, I sent you a text early this morning with all the deaths that's happened in the last 10 years of black people who were just jogging, who was playing outside cops and robbers, who had a cell phone on them, Sean Bell, who was selling cigarettes. You know, all these different people dying for no reason except for their color. Not because they were a threat, but because of their color. So if you're recording this, if you're telling them I'm pulling over, if you're telling them please help me, come get me, y'all, because they're about to try to take me to jail for something I didn't do, at that point the officers have to look at them as people, not as animals. And right now, a lot of these officers are looking at black people and brown people as animals, and it's because you have officers who've never been around us, who've never grew up with us, who are policing our communities, and the only images that they get from us are what they see on television and in the news. And if you just watch those images of black people, you would think we all were heathens.
Yo, and Warren, I'm going to post this on my personal page as well as the Morning Hustle page. But, like, yo, the list that you sent me of all the people that have been, murdered unjustly and the reasons why they were murdered, I had to flick up like 3 or 4 times just to get completely through the list. It just like, and these names are so familiar. Like, it just keeps going on and on and on. Every year there's a new Oscar Grant. Every year there's a new Ahmaud Diallo. Every year there's a new Eric Garner. Every year there's a new Claude Reese, a new Yvonne Smallwood. It just keeps going on and on and on, man. It's just... It hurts my heart, man. But, yo, we got to bring you back on here more often, man, to talk about these things because, like, hey, man, like, we're getting ready to get back out there into, in the environment. And the same problems that we were having before the whole quarantine and the sheltering in place took place, they're still there. If people want to follow you, where do they go, my brother?
They can follow me on Instagram under Truth Fighter or on, Twitter under Laverdad.
Hey,
I got to give love to my Puerto Rican family, so I got to do the
Yo, Warren Ballentine, are you still on private on Instagram? Because people be trying to follow you, and you got to accept them.
Well, you know what? I'm going to come off of private. I came off of private on Twitter, so I'm going to come off of private so I can let people get on. And look, I say this to everybody. As we go back out into this COVID streets, that's what I call them, the COVID streets. When we go back into them COVID streets, make sure you still are protecting yourself and safe. A lot of young people think this isn't serious, isn't real. This thing is very real, and I've been talking to Fauci since January. I told my audience on my show in January to start stocking up. And I'm going to tell you something that he told me just 2 nights ago. He said, Warren, this thing is going to double down on us, and it's going to be 100 times worse if this isn't done the right way. If people don't cover up, this is going to be 100 times worse.
We got to move better. Thank you so much for the information, Warren Ballentine. Much love to you.
We are the Morning Hustle.